Fluffy love.
I just hit my glasses.
Good, good morning.
Good morning. Hi. Here we go. We're on section 9 in the workbook. What is the second coming? What is the second coming? Christ's second coming, which is sure as God, is merely the correction of mistakes and the return of sanity. It is a part of the condition which restores the never lost and reestablishes what is forever and forever true. It is the invitation to God's word to take illusion's place, the willingness to let forgiveness rest upon all things without exception and without reserve. So there goes Jesus coming down from the sky. Is that?
Yeah, that blows that myth, right?
Right out of the water.
Back into a body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's not coming. Okay. All right. It is this all-inclusive nature of Christ's second coming that permits it to embrace the world and hold you safe within its gentle advent, which encompasses all living things with you. There is no end to the release the second coming brings, as God's creation must be limitless. Forgiveness lights the second coming's way because it shines on everyone as one, and thus is oneness recognized at last.
So this is our union.
That's
Our
it.
union with all our brothers and sisters and God as Christ. Yeah.
So it's the coming of kingdom of heaven, because that's the way Jesus defines the kingdom of heaven, is the memory of oneness. Okay, the second coming ends the lessons which the Holy Spirit teaches, making way for the last judgment, in which learning ends in one last summary that will extend beyond itself and reaches up to God. The second coming is the time in which all minds are given to the hands of Christ to be returned to spirit in the name of true creation and the will of God.
Interesting. He says here, all minds are given to the hands of Christ to be returned in the name of true creation and the will of God. It's not just some, it's all minds.
Right.
So go on, keep reading, sis.
The second coming is the one event in time which time itself cannot affect. For everyone who ever came to die, or yet will come, or who is present now, is equally released from what he made.
So wherever anybody's perception is, whether it be their perception be here seemingly in a body,
right,
in the ego dream, or whether their perception be in the death realm, which is also part of the ego dream, yeah, it doesn't matter.
No matter where a mind believes that it is,
Right.
all minds are released.
Beautiful.
In this equality is Christ restored as one identity, in which the sons of God acknowledge that they all are one. And God the Father smiles upon his Son, his one creation, and his only joy. That is beautiful. Pray that this second coming will be soon, but do not rest with that. The second coming, needs your eyes and ears and hands and feet. It needs your voice. And most of all, it needs your willingness. Let us rejoice that we can do God's will and join together in its holy light. Behold, the Son of God is one in us, and we can reach our Father's love through him. I got chills reading that one. Oh.
Yeah, I'm just really feeling into this.
Mm. Where minds are given to the hands of Christ to be returned to spirit in the name of true creation and the will of God. Christ's coming is one big unified yes to God. It's the total rending asunder or tearing down of all defense. Yeah.
Coming home.
Yeah.
Can I share a couple of quotes here?
Oh, please.
I found? Yeah. And this one's from chapter 4, section 4, paragraph 10 in the FIP version. And this is Jesus speaking. He says this: the first coming of Christ is merely another name for the creation. For Christ is the Son of God. The second coming of Christ means nothing more than the end of the ego's rule and the healing of the mind. The end of the ego's rule and the healing of the mind. Now, Jesus says here, I was created like you in the first coming of Christ, and I have called you to join with me in the second coming of Christ. I, Jesus, am in charge of the second coming. And my judgment, which is used only for protection, cannot be wrong because it never attacks. And this next quote comes from chapter 9, section 4, paragraph 11 and 12. Fairy tales, in other words, he's speaking about the gap diagram and the contents in the gap, the body, the dream, time, space, death, etc. Fairy tales can be pleasant or fearful, but no one calls them true. Children may believe them, and so for a while the tales are true for them in their perception. Yet when reality dawns, the fantasies are gone. Reality has not gone in the meanwhile. The second coming is the awareness of reality, not its return. Mm-hmm. That's big, isn't it?
Yes.
It's that we've pulled the blinders off. Reality was always here. Mm-hmm. Behold, my child, reality is here. It belongs to you and me and God, and is perfectly satisfying to all of us. Only this awareness heals, because it is the awareness of truth. Amen.
Amen. Now, going back to this gap diagram, really hearing again. Remember that the backbone behind the entire gap was a relationship between two minds. Two minds agreeing to look inward and seeing what's never been there. And so that's why the special relationship is the backbone of this illusory world. So forgiving this content, that's great, that's forgiveness, but it's the closing, it's the recognition that we're not two separate minds, but it's the recognition, the second coming of Christ, of the mind returning to its status of one mind. Not billions of separated private minds with private wills that can conflict with one another, but that we all share. There's just one mind, and it's that return when we consent to no longer try to uphold what's never been there, but through forgiveness and in our joining in holy relationship, closing the gap forever and allowing the mind to return oneness. That's the second coming. That's why we need holy relationship for the second coming to occur. It's that admission that I am not myself. I am not of myself. My brother and I are one. One mind, one life, one being, one in God.
Beautiful, sis. Thank you. And you just reminded me of something I read yesterday in the course, where Jesus was saying that basically it's impossible to heal the past. Remember, the past is the ego is the past. It's impossible to heal the past while we still cling to special relationships and the special relating.
Right. Yeah, because the past is part of this, right? There's a timeline within this. So while there's still a special relationship, everything that stays, if the special relationship is not forgiven, everything in here is still going on. That's why he says if you're still in the special relationship, you think you've forgiven some of the things that are in the gap, but if you still have this, you still have it all, including space, time, the body, aging, the stories, lack, conflict, right? It's, do I want to see my brother as sinless and join and be one? That's really the only question that we have. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's why learning how to communicate or restore communication, which is love, is so important, right? Because while we believe that specialness is real, and while we still desire it, we're actually breaking communication. We're breaking that love. We're keeping special relationships going. So we really do need to learn how to become authentic as the Holy Self through learning to apply the 7 keys of authentic relating. Again, they're down there. There's some videos there in the quick references box underneath this video here.
And let's not forget that the overarching reason for the 7 keys is to experience a divine love. It means to get the mind free of all fear and all the things that it's not, dropping all the masks so that true union or joining can occur, so that divine love can be felt and experienced. That's the why. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, sis, because it helps to accelerate the actual undoing of our defenses against that.
That's right. Yeah, we need to see why are we doing that? Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So we still have lesson 301 as part of today's lesson. Did you want to read that one?
Sure.
Okay.
Lesson 301. And God himself shall wipe away the tears.
Does it say all tears?
You're right, sis, it does.
Okay.
Wow. There's somebody else who's reading my through me at the moment, and it must be the ego. Sorry about that. And God himself shall wipe away all tears.
Can I read this footnote real quick, and then you'll
Please, yes.
This is out of the book of Revelation in the Bible. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. In the Bible, God will wipe away all tears through a transformation of the world in which evil is vanquished and death itself is overcome. In the above lesson, God will wipe away all tears because when we cease to judge, we will see His world, the real world, a happy world that is inherently free of pain and loneliness.
Is this where the rapture fits in?
Mm-hmm.
Having never read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. So what?
Well, Revelation was written by John, and he, while still in a body, was able to behold the real world and wrote about it and described it, and it's full of symbolism, and it's it's a pretty deep read. But anyway, he described what he saw in his vision, and that's what he wrote. Part of it, a very small part. Mm-hmm. Death is overcome. All tears are wiped away.
Well, it's about time, isn't it?
Don't you think? Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And God Himself shall wipe away all tears. Father, unless I judge, I cannot weep, nor can I suffer pain or feel I am abandoned or unneeded in the world. This is my home because I judge it not. And therefore, is it only what you will? Let me today behold it uncondemned. Through happy eyes, forgiveness has released from all distortion. Let me see your world instead of mine. And all the tears I shed will be forgotten, for their source is gone. Father, I will not judge your world today. God's world is happy. Those who look on it can only add their joy to it and bless it as a cause of further joy in them. We wept because we did not understand, but we have learned the world we saw was false, and we will look upon God's world today. And God Himself shall wipe away all tears.
And so what is the condition we have to meet? What is he pointing to? The absence of judgment, right? Let me not overlay any judgment, which means I'm not looking through the body's physical senses and believing what they're telling me. I'm not trusting a past and past education or what I think I know to overlay on what is right here at hand that I would experience absent my judgments. Our most educated, most cherished opinions prevent us from experiencing this happy world.
Do we want to be right, or do we want to be happy?
Pick happy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't be duped on that one. The one that wants to be right can't possibly know what anything is for, let alone right and wrong.
Mm. Mm.
Thank you, sis.
Might be good to actually read the first 10 or 20 lessons again at this point, because they'll make a lot more sense now than they did when we first began.
That's it. You're so right. I just, yes, the other day that came again. It's like, that's what all of these are about. This, just the way that I have superimposed a false mind, so-called. This is the building blocks of a false thought system. Now we can go back and look at that. You know, nothing I see means anything. I have given it all the meaning that it has. Wow. Here comes the filter, right? Piece by piece, where I don't know what anything is anymore. I'm not even seeing reality. Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, sis.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's what is the second coming and lesson 301. Thanks for joining us, family.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Got it.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.